when you have one or two lines, I'm much more nervous than if I had a whole 10 pages of dialogue. I think industry in a nutshell, it's like you're like, oh my god, I booked this thing, I'm gonna make it, and then it's like, and then it kind of is nothing. Oh my gosh, I got to say, and then it's like, and then I ended up having to turn down one of them because I just couldn't with my schedule, which is great. It's a great position to be in.
What a great problem to have.
The most fun I have is when I am fully present with my scene partner, taking in what they're doing.
There's always like a bit of yourself in the character anyway.
100%.
You're always
with the broom, I fly off on a broomstick at the end.
Harry Potter style.
And it was so fun. It was so wild.
Actually, I have the clip here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's like I'm in like my trailer being like,
and then you're like,
I need to run.
Wake up, Corey.
Yeah. And I feel like the opposite is true. Like it's this classic thing where it's like you book a trip to go away and then you're just like, you booked the thing and you're like, fuck me, like forget about it so fast that like sometimes my agent will be like, you booked the thing, and I'm like, which thing was this?
Because the director wants you know, to cry on that specific line, on that specific word. I mean, that takes a lot of skill.
You have to have confidence and have fun on your tape, and at the same time, I'm like, yeah, Corey, like.
Welcome back with another episode of Breakthrough. If you guys haven't subscribed or checked our podcast channel, make sure to check it out at Breakthrough by Ali. Check us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. So in today's episode, guys, I have one of the most amazing, multi-talented, and prolific actress, Corey Woods.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Guys, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for coming to the podcast and
so
for
happy to be
joining us. And again, I just want to give you like a little bit of a overview of the podcast, because some people ask like, why is it called Breakthrough? So the reason why it's called Breakthrough is just because we want to inspire people who are listening, whether you have a goal or a dream and you're scared, like you're a little bit reluctant about chasing it, and by listening to someone who's been there or who's on the way to making it, because sometimes we associate breakthrough about like something big in your career, like a lead role, or like something like a huge milestone in your financial career or something. But a breakthrough could be something as small as just like waking up in the morning and realizing that you can do anything you want.
Sure.
The small wins. So that's basically what inspired the idea for the podcast in the first place.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, how did you walk us through like your acting debut? How did you start? What were you doing before? Were you like born acting, or like it just came at some point?
So I was born in a little village called Fruitvale, BC, 1,500 people, super small town.
Yeah.
So definitely the idea of acting was just so foreign to everyone in this town. I remember watching at a very young age. I watched Titanic, which was kind of like my inspiration.
High school classic. I love it.
Yeah. I saw Kate Winslet, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like when I found out that they were acting and that was something you can do, I was just like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I graduated high school, and I remember throughout high school, I kept telling my parents, like, I want to do acting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, such a small town. So
your friends and family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did they say?
They were all like,
nah.
No, like
not even bother.
My mom's like, why don't you go to South College and be a dentist, or like something like that.
Just do something normal. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so surprising everyone, I was like, okay, I'm gonna move to Vancouver, because in my mind, Vancouver is the closest city to Fruitvale.
Yeah.
It was either like Toronto or Vancouver. I always thought Vancouver was the place, and so. Yeah, 18 years old, I moved out to Vancouver on my own, and went to acting school, and just have been, building up my resume, and
nice.
Yeah, just doing as many gigs as I could until here I am here.
I love it. Did you train, or you just like literally went right in?
No, I went to VAS, Vancouver Acting School. I think it's called something else now, but School Creative or something.
Yeah.
But I did that for 6 months, and then I did another 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I've just been doing like coachings and classes with various coaches, and yeah, I highly recommend, if you're an actor, just getting as much training with as many different coaches as you can.
Yeah, I feel like it's also something I did in the beginning as well. When I was like starting out, I was under the impression that you had to go to film school to be an actor.
Oh.
Like I was like, you know what, like acting, like it seems like you need like a 4 years degree or something like that. Which I guess like has its pros, because like you do learn a thing or two like in film school. Especially like like stuff on set and the terminology, and like
yes, for sure.
like I didn't even know what a boom was in the beginning. I was like, what is boom? Like,
yeah.
So like, that kind of stuff where you don't want to look like an idiot if you don't actually know the gears that they use and stuff like
Totally.
that, right?
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I mean, I think I agree. Like, it's just like, training in like different schools or like different places, and like
Yeah.
really finding what really resonates with you, like what really works for you,
That's it.
and
Yeah.
try to gain as much knowledge there.
Yeah.
Um, I actually have your IMDb right here, and I got and I gotta say, like, it's just
Love.
really, really impressive. Like, it's just
Oh,
like,
thank you.
what have you interviewed
Thank
on
you.
already? Everything.
That's so nice of you. Thank you.
I love it. So, what, like, I mean, see, like, I'm trying to like, there's so many credits that I can't even go further. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to like walk us through like your first professional acting
Absolutely.
role, acting credit?
Yeah.
How was it? Were you nervous? Were you like did something happen? Were you embarrassed? You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Did you reconsider your career? What happened?
I was on cloud nine. My first acting gig was for the unauthorized story of Saved by the Bell.
Nice. And that was like how long ago?
Oh my gosh, that was probably 2013,
Wow.
maybe 2014.
Yes. Over a decade ago.
Oh, that's so sad to think. I got cast in this role, and it was basically this like if you watch Saved by the Bell, it was kind of like the telling of like how the show was created.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where one of the guys is coming out of the thing, and there's a group of like there's like all these fans, and there's like a girl that goes up to him and says, "Can I get your autograph?" And then I say, "You and I can't remember her name. You and Jess should totally date. You're perfect for each other," or something like that. That's my line. Those are my two lines. Can I get your autograph? And I think you and so should date.
So you were playing like a best friend sort of thing? Like
No, I was like someone in the crowd, like a random fan.
a random person? Okay.
And I was supposed to be, I think everyone in the crowd around me, everyone's like, oh, we can only be on set for another like hour before they have to release us, because they were all young. And here I am at 20, 22, 23, supposed to be a 14-year-old. And I'm like,
right, yeah.
Anyway, so it was so fun.
That's so fun. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was so fun though. I would just remember calling my mom in my trailer, and it was like a little like one of those honeycomb small trailers. They have like the TVs with the VHS like
the VHS.
They have VHS players in there, and I'm like,
oh yeah, actually, you know what? That's so true, because the last set I was on, there was a TV with VHS. I was like, okay, they haven't like given this like a makeover in a long time.
I know.
That Chuck.
I know.
I love it. So, were you nervous like going into that, like knowing it was like your first professional thing? You're like, oh, like, I can't fuck this up. I gotta look professional. I gotta bring my A game. Yeah. Perhaps there were some like people that you recognized on TV, and like that made you even maybe more nervous.
Totally.
How did that play into?
Yeah, I was so nervous. It was my first professional gig. I thought it was like make or break time. And that was actually my first audition for film and TV. I'd signed with my agent.
The first one, and you got it.
The first one, and I got it off the gate.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy.
I wish I could say it kept up, but I haven't booked everything to audition for, unfortunately.
Flawless victory.
Yeah. I had 100% booking rate at some point in my career.
Yeah.
So I booked
good old times.
Yeah. I was actually just, as I was saying to you earlier, I teach acting classes, and right now, I'm teaching them about like actor roles, and I'm like, I still stand by today, but like, when you have one or two lines, I'm much more nervous than if I had a whole 10 pages of dialogue. It's like you have two lines, and you're so
I feel the same
delicate
sometimes, actually.
Yeah. And you're like, they have much more pressure. You're like, okay, I gotta wow them with these two lines. Like, here's your coffee, sir. Like, suddenly you're so nervous. But I just remember having so much pressure on myself, and looking back on it, I'm just like, it was like one take, and he's like, yeah, good, moving on. And now you just see like how like, you're there. I don't want to say like actor roles are like insignificant, but it's like the director has so many other things going on. You just need to say your line, and he's like, great, good, yeah, we got it, moving on.
Yeah. No, I was having this conversation with a guest, with my friend Ollie, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, like if you have like an actor role, if you have like a one-liner, you're not trying to steal the show or anything.
Yeah.
You're just like advancing the story. So just keep it cool.
Be natural.
Like don't do anything crazy. Like you know what I mean. You're not the center of attention.
That's right. Yeah. Do you watch Friends?
I didn't watch everything, but I did like watch most of it. Yeah.
There's the scene with like Joey in the hospital, and Phoebe's like a nurse or whatever. Did you see it? And
I think so.
Like,
Yeah.
She's like, I made up a backstory, and I think she like slaps him at one point. Like, how dare you? Anyways, it's so funny.
Oh man, Friends. What a good classic. Nice. So you booked your first professional audition.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then how did things go from there? Like you started like really, I mean, it must have like, gave you like a big confidence boost.
100%.
You must have felt like on top of like, like, I got this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, I thought I booked, like, so I had signed with
Mm.
my agent. I was like still pretty new and I was only going out for auditions. And like
Mhm.
back in that time before COVID, it was just like big cattle calls. Like I'd show up and there'd
Yeah.
be 100 people there.
Yeah.
They didn't really know what they wanted. They were just kind of seeing everyone.
Yeah.
And then my first film and TV audition, I booked it and I was like, this is great. I'm going to be like only actor roles from here on out. And it was kind of just like back to commercials.
Right.
And I think that's just how it stayed for the next little while, like maybe an audition here and there for like small things. And then I switched agents after that. But it's just funny when you like think, and this is just the whole, I think, industry in a nutshell. It's like, you're like, oh my God, I booked this and I'm going to make it. And then it's like, and then it kind of is nothing. Oh my gosh, I got this. And then it's like,
I had like a similar sort of an experience.
Yeah.
Not as good as yours. I had the callback for my first audition.
Okay.
Which is not bad.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty good. You know, I was like, the first I was like, okay, I'm getting a callback. Not bad.
Yeah.
Means like, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't book until like, I think 2 years after or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely like felt like, oh man, like I got a callback. If I had booked this and if it was the first audition, that would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. I would have like, yeah. But so when do you think, when would you say is the turning point for you that really started like where you really noticed that you started booking more and you like, you started like, okay, like now this is the point where you really started like having a bigger, I guess, like conversion rate, as we say, right? Like, okay, booking rate.
Yeah. I would say there was a period where I had booked a movie that was filming out in Kelowna.
Yeah.
And then I auditioned for a Hallmark movie. I booked that. I was a number 3.
Yeah.
And then I booked a mini series, or like, a mini series. It was 4 movies. And then I booked another like feature film. And it was all in the span of like one audition after another. I would book.
Yeah.
And then I ended up having to turn down one of them because I just couldn't with my
Too busy.
schedule,
Well,
which is great. It's a great
what
position to be in.
What a great problem to have.
What a great problem. But I was devastated. Like, you know, as an actor, you go so long without work and then you want all the work you can get, right? So I booked all these scenes and my agent's like, we have to turn this one down. Like, you're going to be on set and it's not possible. And I like called and I was crying. I'm like, I can do it. Like, I can go from that set and then I can just go straight to this set and like, I'll do any, like, she's like, they can't, like the location.
I'll take like an Uber Express or something.
Yeah. I was just dying to do it, but I ended up having
to
turn it down. But I made enough to live off of it. I didn't need a second job.
Wow.
And I was on set like Monday to Friday. I would wake up, go to set, and it felt like that was my job. And that was like the best feeling in the world.
It really is. It really, really is. Like, what do you think changed in your process that made you feel like you were more bookable? Like, did you like change something in your taping routine that made you like, did you realize something that you were doing in your tapes that you weren't doing before that made you, or it's just sort of happened?
This is the $1 million question that I think of every time. I'm like, what was I doing in that time period?
It's hard to pinpoint
I just
sometimes.
Everything.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think I just like, maybe I just cared a lot less. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't as delicate and precious with my auditions, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. They want me or they don't.
Yeah.
Can I swear on the podcast?
Yes, you can.
Okay, great.
Uncensored.
Okay, fuck it. I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna do what I want, and yeah, so I think maybe that's what it was, but I still am trying to figure it out to this day. I'm like, I don't know why I booked just like 4 things after another.
I love it. Actually, like you just said something because I was gonna ask this question. We always have like a question in this podcast where like it's kind of the ultimate question of the podcast.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you. This is something we hear a lot in the acting space. A lot of actors do this, especially like newer actors. Actually, what do you think works for you to get out of your head when you're acting? Because this is something that I guess maybe you or anyone actually can just relate to, where we get in our head so much, where we start anticipating, we're thinking about the lines, like we're like, okay, like this is the line, this is my cue to say my line. Like, how do you not think about all of this when you're acting and just like really think about nothing else but being present?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. And it's still something that I think to myself every day when I'm in the middle of a scene and I'm just like, oh my gosh, my hair feels like it's like in my face, or I'm thinking of like a million other things.
Yeah.
And then I just have to like focus on the other person. What are they saying? What's happening with them?
Yeah.
And it's just like putting everything on that other actor.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done. I mean, like.
Yes, exactly. It's one of those things that yes, you can say it, but then doing it is just, it's like a whole other ball game.
Totally. But and like maybe you've experienced this as well, but like the most fun I have is when I am fully present with my scene partner, taking in what they're doing, and it's just kind of just easy.
Feeding off each other.
Yeah, feeding off each other. Yeah.
That's great. I love it. it's it's just like a priceless moment when this happens where you are so in sync.
Yeah.
And then when you end the scene, you look at each other and you're like, man, like we were so connected in this scene, weren't we? Like,
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
you know?
And I always love seeing like I don't know if you've seen a lot of like theater or like mostly it happens in theater when like something falls off of the table or like crashes or something.
Yes,
and
like
they just
fuck ups that happens
the
all the
fuck ups,
yeah.
and they call it like gifts. And I
Yes,
love,
you roll with it.
yeah,
It's
I
great,
love
yeah.
when like actors acknowledge that and
Yeah.
they don't just ignore it. When they ignore it, I feel
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, they're like so
Yeah.
into them. Like I need to learn the lines and everything. It's
Yeah.
like just like the thing fell. We all saw it. Let's
Yeah.
just like
roll with it.
roll with it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, what do you have to lose? Like, you already started to take, might as well finish it.
Exactly.
Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not like
Exactly.
it's you're gonna have to cut anyway, if anything. So
Exactly.
might as well finish
Yeah.
the take.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like sometimes these things happen, and it's. I mean, yes, like it throws you off. Like sometimes if
Sure.
I guess you want to keep acting, but to a certain extent, like if you like a crash happening or like like something explodes nearby, then obviously you gotta react accordingly.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, but yeah, if like something shatters, like something
Yeah.
within the realm of like acceptability, I guess,
Yes,
then you
yeah.
roll with it.
Roll with it.
I love it. What do you think is this is something because like I get like different versions of that, like with many actors. When you get a script,
Yeah.
what do you do with it? Like, do you just like do you start like rehearsing? Do you like how much of it is like like on the paper? Do you like do you do like quick goals, quick tactics, quick obstacles, blah blah blah, or do you like kind of just like start like rehearsing the line to kind of like feel it out a little bit? What do you do like to the moment you actually start taping?
That's a good question. And this is for an audition or for set?
I guess both.
For both, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just read the scene like as like an unbiased, like
Yeah.
just read it and like envision how I think it looks in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I try my best not to have like put choices on it right away. I'm pretty bad at like reading something and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how I should say this, or this is what I should
Nice.
do.
So you would like read it neutral?
I'd read it neutral.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read it neutral.
Cool.
And then I start yeah, my process I wouldn't recommend people do it. I start like memorizing like pretty quick into it.
Really? Okay.
I'll read it
It's
neutrally.
good. I mean, like I've heard people do this as well. Like,
Yeah. So I just
it's one
try
way
to,
of
like,
doing it. Yeah.
get the like words in my mouth and say it
So
as
before
much as
even like really doing any sort of like analysis on the script, just like the
kind of, yeah.
Love it.
I
Okay.
mean, maybe it's just happening so fast in my brain, but like I know like in acting school they're like, what do you want and who's this person to
Yes.
you, and like
This is
and
kind of the structure that we all
Totally.
get taught. Yeah.
and I don't really like I'm not one to like, okay, write
Yeah.
down what do I want in the scene.
Yeah.
I just kind of think about it, and after I read it neutrally like a few times through, I'm just
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, she wants love and this guy is her ex, and
Yeah.
it's like also, and then I work with personalization.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's after I've gotten the words and everything down. That's when I kind of like go in and with the meat and potatoes and think like, okay, like who's someone from my life that I can put on this person,
Mhm.
and then find that connection a little bit more.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I guess like how deeper do you go sometimes with a script to the point where let's say you're doing like a scene, right? And then there's like in the scene there's a mention of like a dinner that you had with someone. Do you like substantiate the dinner? Like do you try to create a scenario of what happened that dinner so you can actually like fully play the circumstances of that scene? Or do you kind of just like, yeah, it was a dinner with my ex, like it was a breakup dinner or whatever. Like do you do like do you fill in these blanks that sometimes are needed to kind of give some flavor to the scene, I guess? Do you know what I mean?
For sure. If it is like if I have time to, like if it's a scene that I'm filming for a movie or project, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's an audition that's due the next day,
Yeah.
it depends how much time I have to prep that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely if it's like a dinner that's like it was a dinner where I broke up with my ex or whatever, I'll like go into the like try to like find a time in my life
Yeah.
where I've had that exact thing, and then I can kind of like draw from that. So
Nice.
when I say these words, I'm like, yeah, I met with my ex the other night. Like I can feel like that pain from it, as opposed to like, yeah, I had some dinner with my ex the other night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
difference in how you say that.
Nice. I love it. So for what I'm hearing from you is like substitution is really your thing when it comes
It
to
is, yeah. I've
when it comes to
studied a lot with
connecting
it.
to the nice. Okay. That's great because like I've heard people using substitution, breathing,
Yeah.
and other type of technique to kind
Yeah.
of like just really get the emotionality of the thing.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to character, do you like how do you build a character? Like how do you know like which pitch should your character have? Like how do you know like what you're gonna be wearing? How do you know that the mannerism, the body language? Like how do you create a character just like off the lines? You know what I mean?
It's a good question. I mean, I feel like unfortunately for us in Vancouver, a lot of the stuff that we go out for are pretty like neutral, like just like people like Hallmark movies and
Yeah.
like I don't really like I from those kind of characters I just kind of like try to bring Corey to it.
Yeah. There's always like a bit of yourself in the character anyway.
100%.
You always infuse like you can never like not be like yourself. You have
Yeah.
to infuse a bit of your personality in it.
Totally. But then sometimes we get these really interesting characters
Yeah.
come along. Like this last movie that I did, I played this like hillbilly, like redneck spitting kind of girl, and that's not Corey. So I like
not at all. Yeah. But
So,
you gotta find it in you to bring it a little bit of
totally.
Corey.
And
Yeah.
I feel like those are the kind of characters that I book a lot. It's like the caricatures. The further they are away from me,
Interesting.
the more fun I have. Like,
Yeah.
I also do like animal work. So I like to
Okay.
find an animal for that character.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're gonna walk different if they're like a
Nice.
gorilla or if they're like a peacock or if they're like
Yeah.
a cat.
Yeah. That's so fun.
So and that's fun to me. Like that's
Yeah.
so fun.
Like how caricature do you go with it? Because sometimes obviously it's film on TV, so I
Yeah.
guess you can't like stretch it too much. But you
Yeah.
also like I guess there's a fine line where you can
Totally.
you-
And
you-
like there's something that feels like it's too much for me, but as long as it's rooted in truth and like
Yeah.
as long as it's rooted in truth, it's truthful for you, then
Nice.
it's gonna be I think it's gonna be good.
What do you think is your most memorable I guess like booking when it comes to these the caricature type bookings? One that really like stuck to you and that kind of like
Yeah.
stayed with you for a while.
It was on R.L. Stein Monsterville, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And I played a witch. And
Oh.
I was like I get to set and you were talking about building character. Like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure I do the prep and everything, but once I get in the chair and they do the makeup and
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
the wardrobe on, that's really when I kind of like find
Yeah.
the character.
Yeah.
I was a witch and they put prosthetic nose on me. I was just like done up
Yeah.
and I was like hunched over and I wasn't like Glinda the witch. I was like
Yeah.
a full on like
Wicked.
like wicked witch, but like ugly and like hunched forward and I was like like just full on.
With the
And
broom?
with the broom. I fly off on a broomstick at the end.
Harry Potter style.
And it was so fun. It was so wild. And I
Mm.
have to check, but I think I still have it on my demo reel today because everyone that watches it is like,
Yeah.
wait, where were you in that scene? And they have to go back and I'm like, I'm the witch. And they're
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
That's
No one
crazy.
recognizes me.
Yeah, they couldn't tell.
Yeah.
With the makeup, with the
The
voice.
makeup,
Yes.
I had like contacts on and like, yeah, I just was not Corey.
Yeah, I was unrecognizable.
Yeah. That's what I want though. I like as an actor, like that's
Yeah,
my
it's
goal. I want to
fulfilling.
be a chameleon. Like I want to be a
Yeah. That's so fun.
yeah.
I love it. Actually, I have the clip here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's
So true,
go.
so true. Oh my goodness, I love that. Okay, so what do you think about the because obviously you've been in the game for a while, right? Like 2013 like is your first booking.
Yeah.
So you obviously like saw the industry evolve in many ways, shape, or form. Especially right now, after COVID, where it's like, just like self tapes, we barely go in the room.
Yeah.
As far as I know, at least.
Yeah.
Do you like this new sort of like way of like auditioning? Do you feel like you want to go back to what it once was, or like, what do you think about like these shifts, especially now AI is coming as well? Like, do you wish you could go back to these old days where things
Yeah.
were nice and simple?
Yeah, I mean it's a love-hate relationship.
Mm.
Like I loved being in the room and seeing casting and like
Yeah.
if I do the take and they're like, oh no, like she's actually like the love interest or something or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
and then I get to do it again. Whereas a self-tape, as you know, it's just like you just kind of do what you think and then it
Yeah.
gets sent off and
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
typically get redirects. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
be like, yeah, let's see it again this way. But
Yeah.
but also like it gives me freedom to not
Mm-hmm.
to like I can be anywhere and do a self tape. I can
Yeah.
be
So
wherever.
I think like I have like mixed reviews on that. I feel like also there's obviously like pros and cons to both, right?
yeah.
Like, having being able to go in the room and, having also like, making a first impression
Yeah.
is just huge.
Mhm.
Like putting that smile on, like, showing that friendliness, someone that they can actually work with.
Yeah.
Also like, being able to take directions on the fly when you audition in person. These are all things that you cannot do, I guess, in when we tape.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, this is something I started doing literally last year.
Mm.
I don't know if you do it as well, but since we don't get a redirect, I always at least send 2 or 3 different takes.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do ask it in the breakdown, where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, give us like 3 different options, 2 takes or whatever.
Yeah.
But even if they don't say anything, I'll still send 2 takes. It's kind of a way to redirect yourself where you're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't know what they want, but if anything, I'll give them 2 or 3 choices to pick
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's unprofessional to do this, or do you feel like it's fine?
I think that's totally fine. I think that
Yeah.
that's probably smart.
Yeah.
I should start doing that. I'm like, you're typically lazy. I'm just like, okay, good. Let's just send this off
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do that. But yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's like a one-liner, like,
Yeah.
you get like, you know what, it's a one-liner.
Yeah.
If it's like 10 pages, then maybe I would be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send one take.
Yeah.
But if it's like a one line, like, I have like time for like 2 or 3 takes, I'll
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I mean, like, you could like put 2 or 3 different characters in this and just send it.
Yeah.
But they also gotta be different, because if it's all the same,
Yeah.
then it's gonna make you look bad.
That's right.
So like
they have to be different enough.
yeah, they have to be like literally like visibly different.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a casting director workshop where the casting director said that. It was more so when it was in the room, but like if you would do a take and then you'd be like, oh, can I do something else? I remember the casting director would be like, okay, but it has to be different, like very different.
Yeah,
Because she
like
said a lot of times
180-degree switch.
Yeah, like a lot of times I'd be, can I go again? And it'll be like one little tiny like difference, and she's like, okay, great, thanks. Like
eye rolls and be like,
yeah, like we're already running behind. Like,
yes,
okay, thanks.
no
We're
time
wasting
for
our
this.
time.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. I'm kind of like, listening to you, like saying all these roles and your career and all that. And I can't help it to wonder, like, what is the end goal for you? Like, where do you see yourself? Like, when do you think that, all right, I've made it, I'm good, I'm literally there?
Yeah.
So I guess like your dreams / finish / goal.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I think for me, like my dream and goal has always been to just be a working actor. Like some people, it's like fame. I want to be famous and recognized, and I don't have any like judgment on that. I think that for me, if I'm just on a TV show and I'm working constantly and like nobody knows like really who I am, I don't need to be the next Angelina Jolie or whoever. It's just like I'm just making a living off of acting. My dream or goal would be on a movie or show for 6 months, and then also filming my own documentaries for the other like few months that I'm not on set. I love making documentaries specifically about like animal kind of like issues.
Nice.
So anyway, I can help animals with documentaries. Like I love that kind of process.
That's so thoughtful. I love it.
Yeah.
What makes like documentaries on animals really resonate with you? Like, what is it about that more than anything that really speaks to you?
I mean, I love documentaries. Like my downtime is putting on a documentary and like
whenever you're free, turn Netflix on, go to the documentary section.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What's popping lately? Let's put that on.
Yeah, I love either true crime or like animal kind of stuff.
What have you watched lately? Because I do watch documentaries sometimes.
Oh my gosh, I just finished the O.J. Simpson documentary on Netflix.
Oh.
Fascinating. I mean, we all know how it ends, but it's just fascinating
to see it like come together.
Yeah, like
yeah. There's some like movies and stories that you know how it ends, but it's just like you want to go like you want to watch it because it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful to watch,
Yeah.
It's like Disney movies, like they never get old.
Yes.
You know, like we watch Lion King over and over and over, like we cry so many times, but
you still want to see the in between scenes. But with animals specifically, like they've really shaped my view on them. Like I mean, I've always loved animals, and I just like learning about the injustices that is happening in our world against them. I really want to be their voice and like help them, give them a voice, because they don't have, obviously a voice to be like, hey, this is awful what's happening. So I really want to help.
Someone got to speak up for them. Yeah. 100%. I think the last documentary I saw, it has been a while, but did you see this one where it was actually a Vancouver girl who went to the States?
Hotel Cecile or whatever.
Yes, and then she was going crazy in the elevator, or at least that's what they painted to look like.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to spoil too much, but they end up like finding her body in a tank of water or something.
Yeah.
That gave me chills. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
fascinating.
I went like I was like, I better not have a nightmare tonight.
Yeah, I know. It was really interesting how the documentary.
And she was from Vancouver.
She was from Vancouver. Yeah.
I think like she was like vlogging or something, and then she just went to the States.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a sad story.
I know, but they kind of like made it seem like it was like a killer or something. They're like, oh, like
yes, I mean I guess
like what? Turned out to be much more sad.
It's so like literally at some point I was like literally watching this, and I was like, nobody's involved in this, but why did they build up to it as if someone actually did something to her? Was it just like to entertain the audience, or was it to like not? Because I guess like if you're trying to like tell a story, you want to like, I guess like give her justice and like
Totally.
tell the
Yeah.
story the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess like you also want to give some, the viewers something to
Suspense.
watch, some suspense,
Yeah.
or else somebody's gonna sit through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess you got to find like some sort of a common grounds. But
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was like I watched this and I was like, damn,
Wild. Yeah.
it was crazy. Or like this other one where this girl went to Italy. Was it Amanda something? Do you remember that one?
I do.
Amanda something.
Yeah.
She went to Italy and then she started dating this dude, this Italian dude, and they were living together. And then I think someone died in the house.
Yeah.
And they led to him or her. And then
yes. Yeah.
in the end, she was like vindicated. But like, oh my goodness.
I know.
I was like watching this and I was like, God, man, like I don't want to be in these scenarios. Like I don't like.
I know.
You were thinking that you go to Italy just like to enjoy your time. You find the love of your life.
Literally,
and you're just chilling, and next thing you know, like there's like
murder.
there's a corpse
Yeah.
sitting in your living
I
room.
know.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I
it's just
know.
like
Yeah.
it's yeah. Okay, let's go back to acting for a bit.
Yeah. Not murders. Yeah.
What is like? What do you think is? What do you think one of the most challenging role you ever had to do, where you literally thought that, I guess you were not going to be able to pull it off, or you felt challenged, whether that was in the audition or on set, even when you did book it, but you're like going into set, you're like, oh man, this is a very demanding. I better bring my A game. Like, you know what I mean? Like these guys are on a tight schedule, like, so did you feel like where there was a role or like a specific character that you weren't sure if you were going to be able to do it, I guess, or something?
It's a good question. Nothing too extreme. I feel like it's every day on set when I show up to set, I'm like, I can't do this. Like I'm in like my trailer being like,
and then you're like,
I need to run.
Wake up, Corey.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. There was one movie that I just did recently. It's called Spread. And and I played a porn star on it.
Oh.
And
interesting.
And it was but I remember going to my wardrobe fitting and I'm like trying these clothes on and it's a ridiculous kind of funny, goofy movie.
Yeah.
And I'm in this like cowgirl kind of like like assless chaps kind of like get up.
Yeah.
And it's just me and the other wardrobe assistant girl. And I was just like, she's like, do you feel comfortable? And I'm like, yeah, I feel great.
Yeah.
And then I get to set when there's 50 crew guys around me. And suddenly I'm like, oh, now I suddenly feel, it's not just me and this girl in this trailer.
Yeah, everyone's looking at you now.
Yeah. And I'm doing this scene with Harvey Keitel, which was like crazy. And so anyways.
How did you I guess like audition wise, how did you do that? It's like to the point where like, I mean, I obviously, I guess like you didn't do anything crazy with it, but
no.
I guess like you only like did like the bare minimum for them to.
Yeah, bare minimum, and like it was like it's a funny character. Like I liked her because she was different. Like she was this porn star, and I kind of played her a bit like. Have you ever seen House Bunny? Yeah. But she's like, she's like kind of like naive, and she's like, oh la la, that's French, right? Like she's like kind of like, and but also this this girl Lexi is her name that I was playing. She also has like a husband and kids, and she's just trying to like do her job and make money. Yeah.
So this is something I was gonna touch on as well, because we hear like porn stars or like people who are like in the in the sex industry or whatever, but I mean nobody's actually like born to do this. It's usually like it's like circumstances that actually led to this, and they come usually from a lot of them maybe like they've been through abuse in their childhood or something, and it led them to going down this road. But totally. You're right, like it's just not like it's a lot of people are trying to sometimes they are in this industry and they're trying to get out of it, but like it's just they don't know how to do that. But yeah, I mean it's not like everyone's like born like a porn star. It's just 100%. It's just circumstances, and it comes from like a natural place. So did your scene have to do like you didn't have to do any nudes, did you? Like
no, I told my agent, I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
So it was very like, I mean, this was my first role where it was like it had to be very crystal clear. I had to sign the contract of like exactly what I can like they can see and what I will show, and
okay, so everything was already like documented, like you're like, this is what you get. 100%. We're not going further than that.
Yeah, and I had an intimacy coordinator on set who I worked very tightly with, and she was like my little side gig. Every time they'd say cut, she was there with my jacket, and she was very on top of everything, which is great.
Nice. Way to go.
Yeah, but it was also like you were saying, like it was a role when I was in my trailer in my little cowgirl G-string get up. I was just like, can I do this? I don't know if I can.
Really? So like you're literally talking to yourself and like
Yeah.
questioning.
And I was in the makeup trailer and I
Yeah.
got quite close to the makeup girls and they were like, you look beautiful. Like, don't worry, you got this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, wow. This is good.
And then I went straight from that role to this redneck spitting kind of like unattractive, like it wasn't
From porn star to like freaking.
I am not joking you. And I saw the same, there was some of the same crew on this other movie that I had done. And they were like, Corey? And I'm like in my like dirty and like chew in my mouth. And I'm just like, hi.
Broken teeth or something.
Yeah. Like, they were like, whoa.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love it. This is fun. This is fun. How do you feel like you handle rejections? I guess like we all deal with that. Do you just stop caring at some point, or like does it still affect you? What's your
it's a good question.
Your coping mechanism, I guess.
That's a good question. Very sensitive person, so I don't take rejection really well. But I mean, like in our industry, it's like it's kind of just you don't hear back. So it's kind of like, okay, I've just learned to be very confident in my choices, and like when I tape, I'm like, okay, it's either me or it's not. Like what's not for me will pass by me, and I just try to look.
I also feel like yes, we don't hear back, but when I also look at it from a objective standpoint, I guess like it's basically the same thing about anything. When you go for like a job interview, you only hear back when you actually get it.
Yeah.
If you don't if you don't get it, you don't hear back.
Yeah.
If you go on a date, if you don't get connected, sometimes like not every girl or guy will give you the decency of like a text message.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get ghosted.
Yeah.
So I'm like, actually, it's about the same thing everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like I can't take it bad. Like it's just this is how it is. It's just the world that we live in.
Yeah.
You just don't hear back. You only hear back when they want you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's for relationship, for career, for acting, for whatever, right? So so I guess like this is why I was like wondering like what's because I hear like a lot of people some people stop caring, some people still take it personal. And I'm like, you can't be in this space and just like take this personal because this is not the the right thing for you, right?
I think I did before, but now I've learned to not. I've also learned to stop telling my mom when I have auditions because it's like it'll be like 2 weeks later. Did you hear back from your interview?
Yes,
like it's an audition.
You'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah. What about that audition you did? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love like my mom was like that too sometimes, where she like hey like I would like tell my mom like I had like a really really good audition today. I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
And she'd be like. And then a week later, like, did you hear back? I'm like, which one? Like,
I forget about them.
Yes. I'm like a set it and forget it sort of a, way of like auditioning. It's just like, I feel like, what? Part of it, at least for me, I can't like speak for everyone, but part of it is being like, what I really like noticed like helps a lot, like really just not care, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like being so busy in your life to the point where you literally don't care.
Yeah.
Like where you have so much going on, like in my life, I'm playing sports, I'm going to the gym, like I'm catching up with friends, I'm working on a new project, a new business, a new short. You just have so much going on that you don't even have time to even feel rejected.
That's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, and in the beginning, like cause I did to like take it personal in the beginning when I like, there was a point where I literally just gave it all in acting. Like I literally stopped everything I was doing.
Wow.
And I was like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So when I was not getting the job, when I was like, not hearing from them, I would take things really, really personal.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, to the point where I would literally revisit my tape and be like, oh, I blinked on second 15. I knew it. It's gotta be that. You know what I mean?
That's the reason.
I would be like so self-critical where I would like rewatch my tape and be like, oh man, I knew it. Like, but sometimes it's just not that. Like, it's just like, you don't know. Right. So it's just, but I guess like, when you over time where I started like, like just getting busy with entrepreneur projects and like other stuff, I stopped caring.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I feel like the opposite is true. Like it's this classic thing where it's like you book a trip to go away and then you're just like, you booked the thing and you're like, fuck me, like I have to cancel my trip, lose out all the money so I can be on set, which is like, it's a good problem to have.
Yes, it's
like,
a good problem to have. It's
always
like,
when you're busy, it's like, you have to go to the job.
Yeah. It's like when you don't expect it when it happens.
Yeah.
I remember like my first booking, I was in Australia visiting my some family.
Yeah.
And like I did like it's just so like when I think about it, most of the time when I do book the role, it's because I literally don't care about the tape.
Yeah.
I'm not in my head. I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
Yeah.
I was in Australia. I was having a good time. I was like, you know what? I don't want to like do this. I just asked my cousin like, hey, can you just like help me like tape this like real quick?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, just like read this line. I was like, okay, like this is roughly what it should be.
Yeah.
Just give it a go. Send it to my agent. I never thought I would get it.
Yeah.
Not a million years.
Yeah.
I thought it was a crappy take, if anything.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was good. And yeah, so like I got it. I guess like they liked it.
Yeah.
I was like, did we look at the same thing?
Yeah.
Like,
like really? Is that the right number?
yeah. So do you have these like do you find like sometimes you book when you don't care about the tape, or
100%.
I guess you have to care to a certain extent to actually like deliver some.
That's a good question. I mean, I I feel like when I tape things, I do care, but I like we were saying, like I just forget about it so fast that like
Yeah.
sometimes my agent will be like, "You booked the thing," and I'm like, "Which thing was this? Like, what? What did I book?"
What did I
That
book?
Hallmark. I'm like, I did like
Which
5 of
Hallmark
them.
is it?
Yeah, which one? Like,
The one turned in, the one's filming in Kelowna.
yeah, yeah,
Which one? There's 5
yeah,
of them.
literally, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
but
good.
definitely the less I like put pressure on myself, the better the tape is, and then
Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's so good. Do you find like your acting career has, I guess, affected your personal growth in a positive way? Do you feel like you're a better person now because of acting, or do you
Mm.
feel like had you not gone into this field, would you be the same Corey today? Like do you feel like it contributed in your well being and in the person that you are today?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be very like a bit more closed off
Yeah.
and a bit more just like
You can't do that in acting.
definitely not. No. Acting really taught me that like I thought that like being closed off and not letting people in was like
Yeah.
was the better thing to do to protect myself, and then it was through acting that I realized I'm like, "Oh, actually putting myself out there and like
Mhm.
letting people in and
Yeah.
that's actually more brave than never letting anyone in."
It really is. I mean, I think no one is actually like, I mean, even me, like, I wasn't like born thinking I was going to do this. It just sort of
Mm.
happened. And again, like, like there was a time where I thought I was not going to do this. I was shy. I was closed off. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I was doubting myself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, it's like literally living, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're not doing anything different than
Yeah.
just breathing and talking.
Yeah.
Again, like, like as actors, like, we're taught to like, I guess it depends like where you learn, but we're taught to like suppress our feelings or like not
Mhm.
really show them. And you gotta be able to be vulnerable, and you
Yeah.
gotta be free and open on all these things that sometimes as human
Mhm.
we do feel, but I guess in a way that we don't have control over like when it happens.
Yeah.
It's just like if we're feeling emotional, if we're going through stuff.
Mhm.
But in acting, you have to be able to tap into those on command.
Yeah.
And I feel like like this is like getting vulnerable and getting emotional is one thing, but when you have to do the take over and over and over, because the director wants you, to cry on that specific line, on that specific
Mhm.
word.
Mhm.
I mean, that takes a lot of skill,
Yeah.
like to do that.
Yeah.
Where I've seen this before, like not on me, but like on some other actor, where they're like, hey, like I really like this, but could you try to just come quicker with the tear? Can you start like tearing up like on that word?
Really? Oh my gosh.
I mean, I've seen it. I'm like, I don't want to be in this position right now. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does get really technical, and like it does take a skill to be able to just like redo this.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For
Like just
sure.
like reboot the machine, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
What do you because I know you do teach kids.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Um did you like always wanted to get into like teaching, or it's just sort of like did you want it like a teaching job alongside your acting career, or like how did you?
No, I think that it's just kind of like as an actor, as we were talking about before, like
Yeah.
having a career that you will feel like, oh, I feel stable and I can pay my bills and like I'm not relying on my next gig.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. I never wanted to teach acting, but I just kind of fell into that position.
Yeah.
And the school that I teach with is so great. And, if I book something and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be out for the next 4 months, they're going to be like, great, see you in 4 months, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's the dream as an actor, to have a flexible job. And also I learn a lot from the kids. Like as I'm teaching, I'm reinforcing. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, you have to have confidence and have fun in your tape. And at the same time, I'm like, yeah, Corey, like
Yeah.
you need to like take out your own advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a good reminder as well.
It really, really is. And where do you think your family and friend, I guess mainly your family, where do you think do they stand now as far as like where you are in acting? Are they like, see, I told you I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
You doubted me at the beginning. Where were you then? Like,
yeah, a little bit.
Right?
I think that my mom and my dad and my family all thought that I was gonna go out to Vancouver for a few years, give it
come
the
back
old
in a
college
month.
try. Yeah,
Call
we're
it
like,
call it quits.
we'll see in a few months, maybe a few years. But no, I've been out here for
Yeah.
14 years now, and
Amazing.
they see me on their their TV in their small little Fruitvale town. They're like, oh my
Yes.
God, that's Corey. And my mom
Is
taped
it like
it.
because like I do they all like gather in front of the couch and like when Corey's airing, they're all there, like
Yeah,
your siblings, your mom, your dad,
Yeah.
they're all glued to the TV. It's like there she is, she's coming, she's coming.
Yeah. Shh, Corey's on screen. Like, yeah. Oh, my mom is so sweet.
I love it.
And I love them so much. And my friends now are all, in Vancouver and in the industry. Like I'm a huge believer of like chosen family as well.
Yeah.
And now everyone who I'm really close with is in the industry, and we all support each other. I get a late night booking or whatever, or a late night tape, and they're all there. So it's chosen family is just important.
I love it. Speaking about like friends and family, how did you find like when you came to Vancouver, was it difficult for you to actually like go around, meet people, getting into the space, make connections, or like did you have it like fairly easy? Like
so hard. It was so hard.
It's like I find it a very cliquey city.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
I grew up in Montreal, which is a very open city. Everyone is so friendly. Like it's a very multi-ethnic city. And I also lived in Toronto as well. And I gotta say, like Vancouver is one of the clickiest city I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Where people knew each other since kindergarten, honestly, and they grew up together. They had the same cliques and whatever. So obviously you come from a smaller town, Nelson, and so you coming here, like was it difficult for you to meet people,
so
like
hard.
get a circle? And how did that go? Like, how did you find the hardship through?
Yeah, I mean, like I went straight into acting school, and I think I did a class with like 12 other people, and it was fine. Like I didn't really strongly connect with people. Like I wouldn't say that I had like my best friend there.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've really only cultivated my very close, tight friends in the last probably like 4 or 5 years.
Amazing.
And I've been in Vancouver for 14 years. So it's like 10 good years of me.
Took 10 years to find a good friend.
Yeah, to find like good close friends that I'm like, oh, this is my life friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. It's been really hard in Vancouver. You're right.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like really, really difficult, especially for someone coming from like a smaller town.
Yeah.
When I was like, I guess I had like I wouldn't say like I had like an easier time, but I lived in Montreal, so like I was in a bigger city, so I was like already like immersed like into like I knew what it was like to live in the big city.
Yeah.
So I can like, is Nelson like kind of like, is it, I guess it's smaller, right? So is
Very
it
small.
everyone's like the community is just like very tight?
Very tight. Yeah.
People know each other.
Very tight. And like growing up there, you have so many friends. And then also I think there's a thing with female actresses as well. Like we're all viewing each other as competition. So it's like making female friends who are in the industry was really tough.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's especially sometimes when I go into the audition, like before COVID, where I would like go in the audition and like I would like be sitting down in the audition, in the waiting room, right, with someone, and I would like hear someone do their thing, and I would like, damn, okay, and I'm trying to you're trying to not to do it like them, because you just heard them like like doing their version of it, and then what you rehearsed is sort of like you're like, I guess like we get so like in our head.
Oh my God.
Before like I guess like this is actually one of the like I think this is one of the best takeaways I love about just being able to tape. Is not being able, because like sometimes like you sit in the waiting room, and I guess I don't know your routine, but I don't know if you like to be really just like laser focused with your headphones on. You don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to you don't want to seem rude, but you're coming up next and you want to be just like laser focused, right? But sometimes you have these friendly people who wants to like, hey, how's it going? Like like how did you find were you more like of the like, hey, like you go in the waiting room and start being buddy with everyone, or you're really just like laser focused on your performance?
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say, like, I was the same as you when I would go in and I
Yeah.
would see like girls, and I'm like, oh shoot, I should have worn the blazer, like, or whatever. You see, like that, like,
I knew I should have
you're
worn
like,
that
I
blazer.
knew I should. This is gonna lose me the role. I
And
knew
then
it.
you're seeing all these women, like,
Yeah.
you know, like dressed so differently.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
"Fuck,
totally.
she looks better than me, man." You know
Totally.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that is the one good thing. Like, now that it's
Yeah.
taped, it's, you don't have any of that.
Yeah.
But depended on the role. If it was like a very emotional role, I did
Yeah.
this one scene where I was like, it was like a mom of these kids, and
Yeah.
I believed that it's a really dark story, but like I believe that basically I was
Yeah.
saving my kids by like killing them. So I like pushed my kids off of the bridge, and I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh.
be free or whatever.
Yeah. How could
And
you?
very emotional. So then I'm like kind of in my kind of like
Yeah.
space. If it was like a Hallmark or whatever,
Yeah.
as you got more, you know, met more people in the industry, yeah, you go into the waiting room, you know, like most of them, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Sam, how's it going? And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, I like doing that because it gets me out of my head.
Yeah.
And it's more like to go into the room and just there's less pressure. I'm not like building it up.
Yeah. I love it. Now when you actually don't get the role, okay, let's just like talk about like when you don't get it. We're not gonna talk about rejections, but has it occurred where you didn't get the role, right? And I don't know if you've done it. I've done it myself. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna come clean. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all done it at least once in our lives. Okay. Where I didn't get the role,
Yeah.
and I literally went to see the actual clip. I mean, when it aired, because I was curious to know who got casted
Yes.
for this.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, and I was looking at this, and I'm like, really? That's
Mhm.
what they wanted? I feel like I could have done that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're like watching the performance, you're like, okay, I see. I feel like I could have done this. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like my take was better. Like, whatever feelings you might have.
Yeah.
Have you ever had this moment where you know, you didn't get the role, but you thought I guess you deserved it, and you went online or whatever to watch the clip?
Yeah. I do think every actor has to come to that where they
I've done it at least a couple of times. I stopped doing it now because like I hate it, but I've done it at least like once or two times.
There's like certain roles that stick out to you, and you think you're like, I nailed that. Like even that role where I
Yeah.
like killed my kids. I remember
You nailed it. And
Maureen Webb was a
Yeah.
casting director. She was just like, it was like dead silent. And she's like, that was amazing. And I was like, thank
Yes,
you. And
yes.
I was just like,
You
I
took her breath
booked
away.
it. Yeah. Didn't hear anything. I was just like, what? And then,
Yeah.
I do think, I mean, who knows
Wait, hold on.
what.
Did you get it or not?
No, I didn't book it.
Oh.
But the casting director was like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought for sure. I walked out of there being like, I booked it.
I got it. Yeah.
I got it.
Ready to
Didn't
call your
hear
mom.
anything. Yeah. I didn't hear
Mom,
anything.
I'm coming home. Can open the champagne.
Yeah, totally. And I don't think I ever ended up watching the clip, but
Yeah.
I do think there's so much that happens behind closed doors in casting where it's like it could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be anything. They look too much like the
Yeah,
lead, or
yeah.
they.
But I guess also like Corey, like I guess when you think about it, like I guess like whether you do a good job or not,
Yeah.
they're probably gonna say good job. I can't picture a casting director to be like, yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
Totally.
saying? I guess
Yeah.
like it like yes, I guess like they're gonna say like it's amazing or it's good.
Yeah.
Just because they don't want to like I guess quote unquote hurt you.
Yeah.
They may think otherwise, but I guess like they're always gonna be like that was good, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not gonna be like you know what I mean.
Not good. Yeah.
So you've never like went online to watch a clip or anything or
I think I went on IMDb to be like, who booked this?
who booked this?
But I don't know if I've ever gone
Yeah.
and watched like the clip that I like auditioned with.
Yeah.
That would be super fun. I feel like I want to do that. You were saying that, I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. That's a good idea.
We'll have you next time, and then we'll talk about
Yes,
all
yeah,
these
what I
clips
saw.
that you
Yeah.
that you went back to watch that you didn't book. I love it. Okay. Before we wrap this up, I guess like it's usually what I ask. But the year's getting started. Do you have any new resolutions? Anything you're looking forward to this year, or anything that you're working on,
Ooh.
acting wise, that we should maybe
Yeah.
again, if we can't share, that's cool. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, for me this year, we were talking a bit about this before, and for the viewers at home, I was quite sick for a long time at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And as somebody who never had any health issues my entire life, I was active. I
I
was
was
like,
glad you're feeling better. That's
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. It was my first time actually like sitting in the hospital and being like, oh, I need to take better care of my body and
Yeah.
like be more cognizant of this.
Mhm.
So really focusing on my health and like slowing down, having better boundaries, focusing on like de-stressing and just being gentle to my body and listening to my intuition. And also I'm writing a TV series with my best friend who I did the mini series with. I met her on set.
Ooh,
And
right on. Way to go.
yeah, and
Can't wait.
so her and I are kind of writing, and we finished the pilot. So now it's just going to be kind of shopping it around and seeing what happens.
I love it. I'd love to have you back and we'll chat more about that series.
100%.
That
When
would
it's
be
on
so
air.
cool. Yes.
When it's on Netflix, I'll come back.
I love it. All right. So, well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for
joining
me.
us. Corey Woods, everybody. Thank you guys for watching, for subscribing, and for listening. We'll see you guys next. Take care.